Garbage disposals. Some people call them garbage grinders, and some even call them by the name incinerator. These names are all used to mean the same exact thing. It's an electrically operated device fitted the waste pipe of a kitchen sink for grinding up food waste. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 things you should do first before you replace your garbage disposal. According to homeguide.com, the average cost of a garbage disposal installation is $266, with prices ranging from $180 to $380, including a 2 to 5 year limited warranty. Garbage disposal unit costs anywhere between $85 to $200, and the labor cost to install is $80 to $200, depending on if you hire a handyman or plumber. So what do you do before you call a handyman? 5 things you must first check and do before you replace your garbage disposal, before you call the handyman, before you call the plumber. These are the 5 basic things. Number 1, check the switch. Yes, make sure the switch is on. Number 2, depress the reset button. Most garbage disposals come with a reset button. It's a small red overload protector button positioned on the bottom of the unit. When the disposal clogs, overheats, or the motor overloads due to other issues, the disposal's internal circuit breaker trips automatically to prevent it from burning out. So, depressing the button will reset the unit and allow you to operate the garbage disposal. If that does not work, number 3, verify the breaker is on. Just like mine, you see, it did not work. So step 3, you're going to verify that the breaker is on. Yes, make sure the breaker is on, even if you did not turn it off. Just check it anyway. Because some garbage disposals will trip the breaker when overloaded. The trip breaker then has to reset. It must be reset by turning it the on position. If it trips again, then there's a bigger problem. Basically, there's an electrical fault within your disposal unit, and services of a qualified electrician may be required at this time. So in this case, I'm just locating my panel, found my panel. My breaker number is going to be the 4th one. It says 4 on it. Anyway, it's tied into the dishwasher, and it's going to be the 2nd from the top. So I'm going to just locate it on the right side and make sure the breaker itself is actually on the on position and not the off position. Once we find it, we're just going to double check it's on. So mine is on. Let's go try and work it. Nope, it didn't work. So in this case, I'll move on to step number 4. Number 4, check for freedom of movement by manually turning the hex socket. Inside a hex wrench into the bottom hex socket, it's usually centered on the bottom, and rotate it left and right to be sure it turns free and easy. Just be gentle. All you're trying to do is just you don't free up the impeller inside the disposal. Just in case it's stuck, you're just trying to help the motor so it can freely spin it. But mine did not work, obviously. It free spins, but even try to run, it did not work. And therefore, this time, we just have to proceed to step number 5. Number 5, surely, if your garbage disposal is not working at this point, just get ready, because it's about to get really messy. Some of the pictures of images you're about to see, they may actually, they'll be nasty, right? They'll be nasty. So just stand by for this. First thing you'll do is you need to clean up all the mess under the sink. So what you're seeing me do now, I'm just removing all the items that we store under this, under the sink, and also allows you time to go through whatever else you have down there and just get rid of what you need to get rid of, organize it, and make it look neat. That way, if you have any emergency repairs you have to do, you don't have to waste any time by trying to get rid of all these things. But What you want to do is you want to prepare your workplace, remove all the obstructions in the way to give you more access, because as you can see it's a very tiny spot. So remove all of these things, make sure that it is cleaned up. It's also going to offer you a chance to inspect for more damage, because as you can see it is all straight wood. When there's an issue with that garbage disposal and it's leaking, all that water, all it does is just drop on that plywood at the bottom of this sink, and it's just destroying that wood. If that water continues to destroy the wood, it's gonna run straight to your floors, and that laminate flooring, like I have in this case, will be damaged. You're gonna have to replace a whole floor. These repairs are not cheap, so always make sure that you double check down here and you verify if there's any potential issue. Also, what I recommend you should do is just lay down here a mat that can always catch all that any dampness or any wetness. All right, now let's go ahead and fix it. First things first, you want to make sure that you turn that breaker off. You also turn the switch off. You want to kill the power to this unit because you're about to work on it. So safety first. Safety is very paramount. So that is my breaker. Yes, I'll go ahead and turn it off. Once the breaker is off, I know I'm safe. I'll go ahead and get ready to do repairs. So we're going to unclog the piping, because this elbow right here is what you're going to start with. It has two unions on it, and basically the water comes from above, comes to that union, into the garbage grinder, out in the discharge piping into the union, and out in the drainage system. I would not recommend using actual metal wrench on a plastic union, but in this case mine was so hard to turn freely by hand. If you do have a strap wrench, you can use that, but I didn't have that, so I just had to use my metallic wrench. So you'll go ahead and loosen up the unions. That way you can begin to inspect the easiest place you can look for first, which is basically this elbow. They are designed with free access to, and also with easy access, because all you have to do is just take off those two unions, and whatever is trapped in the piping is going to sit mostly under inside this elbow, which allows you for a quick inspection to see what might be in there. Mine kind of took me a little bit, because who knows the last time this thing was stashed. It was kind of really seized in, and I had to use some force to take it out. Just don't break it. Alright, so now both unions are off. You slide it gently. Be very gentle, because you have no idea. Also, make sure you have a container to catch that mess. All right. Oh, look at that. What was that? What was that? So I just discovered what the problem is. This is why my motor was also very hard. So there's the problem, and hopefully once you get rid of all this should fix the problem. I'm pretty sure this is the actual problem. Having this restriction on the discharge side will cause the garbage disposal to overheat, and when it overheats, then the overload would kick in and basically trip the internal breaker, like we saw earlier on, inside this unit. And then you have to go through the steps again and locate where the problem is. So in this case, the problem is here. Can you guess what that is? All right, so like you see here, I have a catch tray basically to trap all that stuff. That way I don't have to make a mess on the floor. So we need to go ahead and remove the remaining restriction from the piping. You may use some type of a sharp tool or any object to basically just reach inside the piping, move it around so that you can remove every gunk that is stuck under there. Make sure you have some gloves on because this stuff is nasty. As you can see, mine had more stuff in there. The thing was super clogged. So I'm using a screwdriver in this case just to remove whatever gunk is left. So you want to do that. You want to make sure there's no restriction at all. Next, we're going to go ahead and turn the breaker on because we want to see if that was actually the problem. I'm sure that's the problem, but let's just double check. So what you want to do is turn the breaker on and then run some water through it. At the same time, you want to turn the actual switch on. That way you can see if it's sounding different, because initially it was just humming, but you want it to run normal, like you've had it run before. And you also want to run water through it to circulate within the impeller and then discharge on the other side. As always, make sure you have something to catch that water. Once you've done that and you're sure a problem has been fixed, it's time to put everything back. We are sure now the pipings have been cleaned and we are looking good. So first things first, we need to go ahead and apply some Teflon tape on the threads. That way it does not leak on us. I'm sure there's some other special compounds you can use for this application, but the one I had available was just Teflon tape. And you can find this really in Home Depot, Ace Hardware. This thing is very common. I'm pretty sure even Walmart has it. So you want to go ahead and put that Teflon tape on the threads to prevent any leak. Make sure you do that on both sides before you even install it. That way it's much easier for you to just slide it on, attach the unions, tighten it. I highly suggest just you make it hand tight. Or if you have a strap wrench, then sure, you can use a strap wrench. But don't use a metal wrench or metallic wrench, because it's just going to strip those unions. But if you must use a metallic wrench on these plastic unions, then just be extra careful not to strip the unions. Okay, so once the clog has been identified, like we said, you want to make sure that you just test it so you don't have to undo all this hard work you just went through because you did not do a proper troubleshooting. It was easier for me to just detach the actual piping and attach the unions. That's why you see me doing what I'm doing right now. And then next, once you've put on you've attached the unions and you seal them with that Teflon tape, just go ahead, slide it back on the unit, tighten them. You just want to tighten. You might want to make it just hand tight. Just make it as tight as you can get using your hand, and try and avoid using a metallic wrench. If you don't think it's gonna hold, then sure, just go ahead and put a strap wrench on it and tighten it, because again, it's a garbage disposal and there's some vibrations on it, so that thing could come loose. Let's go ahead and test it now. You want to make sure that there are no leaks. So you want to go ahead and test it and make sure that it's not leaking. Hi guys, that's it. I hope you found some value in this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more valuable content like this, be sure to hit that notification button and subscribe. Bye.